a Mitsubishi Pajero 99 3.2 liter Exceed diesel engine. This video is about replacing the tie rod end and kind of a quick tips. And it's not instructional video. You take it or leave it. So I don't need comments. I don't need positive or negative comments. It's the way I do jobs, and I do follow the service manual. So you download the service manual online, follow the steps, and most important is follow the torque values here. But I do not follow all the steps here. So what I did first, I compressed the springs with McPherson spring compressors. You compress the springs until you feel that this whole assembly, when the tie rod end is connected, the old one is connected, but you feel the whole assembly, you can move it maybe half centimeter, and you realize there is no pressure from the spring pushing the whole assembly down. But there is going to be a pressure from the shock absorber, and so when you have less pressure on the system, then you can use a jack to raise it a bit, because when you remove this part, especially the upper ball joint, upper control arm ball joint, if you have pressure from the spring or from the jack or something, and you start removing the bolts here, this will pop, and is going to be dangerous, and it's very difficult to put the new one back in. So first I removed the nut on the top. It's a cotter pin as well here. Of course you can remove the clip that is holding the brake line, so you don't want to remove things around and rely on the brake hose to hold to support the whole assembly. So you remove this one and let it loose here if you want to keep the whole assembly in place. And so remove this nut, and you can use a tool to remove the old tie rod end. I use this type of tool. It's a kind of a compression device, and I was a bit surprised when I tightened this bolt to compress the shaft of this tie rod end, and it was kind of seized in place, and it popped and made a loud banging sound. Kind of scared me. I'm not a mechanic, so for me some things are new. I marked down the nut position, so before I go for an alignment, I still want to put this one in place, so it's kind of aligned. And I made a mistake. I tried to insert some heavy-duty grease with a grease gun. I tried to do that, but I removed this ring out, inserted some grease, and when I tried to put the ring back on, it took me some time. So don't do that, because the manufacturer put enough grease for you to use for a couple of years. And of course, so I had to keep this one away, and I'm using a tool suggested by Mitsubishi in the manual. It's a special tool. You can buy it from an auto parts store in order to remove this upper ball joint. But I bought these things from Germany, and they sold it to me as a professional line product made by Stark or something. So it comes with a grease nipple here. I inserted some heavy-duty grease in this thing, and when I was about to install it, I realized that the holes are now matching. Only two side holes are matching, but the third one is not matching. So I'm pretty upset, because originally I ordered parts, but they ran out of stock for this stuff, and the agent said, we replaced that item you ordered with another one made by Stark. I said, okay, if you're sure it's for my truck. So they sent me wrong